Islamic State crisis. The United States House approves Obama Syria plan. The United States House of Representatives has approved President Barack Obama's plan to train and arm the moderate Syrian opposition taking on Islamic State. The vote passed by a large majority in the Republican-controlled House and is expected to be adopted in the Senate. The endorsement came after President Obama repeated that he would not be committing American combat troops to ground operations in Iraq. The United States has undertaken 174 airstrikes against IS in Iraq since mid-August. The jihadist group controls large areas of Syria and northern Iraq. In the most recent airstrikes on Tuesday and Wednesday, the United States forces destroyed 2 armed vehicles northwest of Irbil and several units southwest of Baghdad, according to the United States Central Command Centcom. Mr. Obama's new strategy plans similar attacks in Syria and calls on a coalition of 40 countries to confront the militant group. This vote was expected to pass easily. Republicans, who control the House, generally support President Obama's strategy to defeat and degrade Islamic State. But the more hawkish among them feel the plan falls short. They argue that the president should consider sending the United States combat troops to Syria and Iraq, something he has said he is not prepared to do. Some lawmakers from both parties feel skeptical that the Syrian rebels are up to the job. At a Senate committee hearing, they pressed Secretary of State John Kerry for assurances that the Syrian fighters would be properly vetted so that, in future, American weapons don't fall into the wrong hands. No safe haven. On Wednesday, the House of Representatives approved his $500 request by 273 votes to 156 to help arm and train moderate rebels in Syria. The provision has been added to spending legislation aimed at extending federal government operations beyond the end of September. Earlier, Mr. Obama said he would not commit to fighting another ground war in Iraq while visiting a military base in Florida. Mr. Obama arrived overnight in Tampa, Florida, where Centcom, responsible for the Middle East and Central Asia, is based. After briefings with top military officials, Mr. Obama told an assembly of troops that the American forces that have been deployed to Iraq do not and will not have a combat mission, but that the United States would see that as was eventually defeated. Mr. Obama said, "If you threaten America, you will find no safe haven. We cannot do for the Iraqis what they must do for themselves," Mr. Obama said. Mr. Obama highlighted partner countries like France and the UK, which were already flying reconnaissance flights, and Saudi Arabia, which has agreed to host the US-led training program for Syrian rebel groups fighting island. His comments came a day after Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff Gen. Martin Dempsey said he would recommend ground troops if the air strikes failed. Iranian Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif said on Wednesday that Islamic State was a dangerous phenomenon, but could not be defeated by airstrikes. Meanwhile, Iraqi Prime Minister Haider al-Abadi rejected as out of the question the possibility that foreign ground troops would be allowed to fight in his country. "Not only is it not necessary," he told Associated Press, "we don't want them. We won't allow them. Full stop." Is earlier released what analysts described as a video response to the United States moves. The slickly produced, Hollywood-style trailer for a film entitled Flames of War refers to Mr. Obama's insistence that the United States combat troops will not be returning to fight in Iraq. In an apparent taunt, it depicts wounded United States troops, masked executioners standing over kneeling captives, and declares at the conclusion, "Fighting has just begun."